Choppin' it up with Ramel. Choppin' it up with Ramel. Choppin' it up with Ramel. No notes, straight from the throat. Choppin' it up with Ramel. Choppin' it up with Ramel. Choppin' it up with Ramel. No notes, straight from the throat.
Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Choppin' It Up with Ramel. No notes, straight from the throat. Well, listen, happy Monday. I know it's a fresh start to the week. I hope everybody had a blessed weekend. For myself, I had a very busy weekend. That's why I haven't been with you guys since Friday. But since then, it's been a lot to talk about. Listen, I would be remiss not to mention this. As today is February 27th, the last 2 days of the month of February, which is always honored as Black History Month. And I just want to pay homage to those who have paved the way for us in some kind of capacity, those who have made a difference for us in some kind of capacity, whether it was the Martin Luther Kings, the Andrew Youngs, or George Washington Carver, or any of those persons, the inventors, those who have passed on legacies that made a difference for our lives, whether they've done it with blood, sweat, and tears, or whatever it might be, because quite frankly, there's no present, no future without a past. And we often take for granted what has happened before us that has given us the freedom or just given us the privilege to do what we do on a constant basis. So I want to pay homage to that. And then close to that, I just want to also remind those that yesterday was the fifth year anniversary of the death of Trayvon Martin, and that is why I'm wearing my hoodie today, because to me, because a person wears a hoodie doesn't mean that they're a bad guy, because quite frankly, I'm not a bad guy, and I don't think necessarily that Trayvon Martin was a bad guy as well. So I'm wearing a hoodie in homage to Trayvon Martin. This is his 5th year anniversary. May he rest in peace. And may some of this senseless violence come to an end. Whether it's police versus black people, black on black crime as well, or in the case of a wannabe cop just going too far and trying to exercise some rights of his that maybe he didn't even have at the time. But again, may that senseless killing stop. Now getting to the sports. Oh, what a weekend it was. We watched the trade deadline. We had some winners and losers. And two of the teams played last night that I thought was clearly winners. And as an effect of them, they came out as winners last night. I'm going to start with Toronto. At the break, Toronto acquired Serge Ibaka and also PJ Tucker. To me, those are two defensive-minded guys that can help any team. Ibaka fills a void that was left by Bismack Biyombo, but the other difference is that he may not be the exact defensive presence of Biyombo, but he comes with offense. As last night, as they won their game last night, he chipped in 18 points and had 10 rebounds, and that's what he can do that Bismack Biyombo probably couldn't do. And PJ Tucker is a rugged 6'6", 6'7" defensive presence that can guard the perimeter as well as guard in the paint. He's got size on him, and he can shoot a little outside touch. To me, he won that game Friday night against Boston, and now so his dividends have already paid off for this team already. So I'm looking at it as they were the big winners, and they're playing without Kyle Lowry. On Friday, they had a nice come from behind win against the Boston Celtics at home. And then last night, DeRozan, who had 43, by the way, on Friday night, had 33 last night, along with Ibaka's 18 and 10, and they beat up on Portland last night. So they're 2-0 since the break and since the trade, and they're playing without their general, their leader. I mean, DeRozan is clearly their best player. However, Lowry is their most important piece. I mean, he's clearly the quarterback of that team. He's clearly the leader of that team. But this team, with the additions of Ibaka and P.J. Tucker and Corey Joseph being inserted in the starting lineup, I thought he was shaky on Friday night, but he seemed to find his way yesterday as he contributed in a better way. And that's saying a lot because he went up against C.J. McCollum and Dame Lillard, and they had 45 points between them. Dame Lillard, he had about 27, 28 last night. So, good win for them. I clearly think that they were the big winners at the break. At the deadline, they was the big winners. The second big winners that I thought was OKC. We talk about Ibaka filling a void there. When Ibaka was traded from OKC, really no one filled the void. They had Sabonis coming out there as a rookie, and he did kind of an admirable job. But to me, making a trade and only really losing Cameron Payne for Taj Gibson and McDermott, I think it's going to pay off for them. I think that Taj Gibson can be inserted into the starting lineup. I think that he fills a void that was left by Ibaka. He brings leadership. He brings toughness. And the guy brings grit. And, that's something that is missing in this league from a lot of teams. And one thing about Westbrook, on an every night basis, he brings that toughness and he brings that grit. And now he has someone that'll play along with him and do that. And guess what? You could give him the ball from time to time down on the blocks because he knows what to do with it. And now you bring in McDermott. And remember this, guys. I played the game. Most of you who watch played the game. Your big man and your shooters is only as good as your point guard. And I bring that up because over in Chicago, McDermott, who was probably one of the game's best shooters, he never really could get into a rhythm in Chicago because he didn't know who was the starting point guard. Was it Jeremy Grant? Was it Michael Carter Williams? Was it Rondo? Now he knows who's his point guard. It's going to be Westbrook. And you can rest assured that Westbrook will find him on the perimeter on opportunities when he's penetrating to the basket and looking to kick it out. Because McDermott can hit a three like it's a free throw. So to me, they were the second biggest winners at the break. And it paid off last night as they won. And Westbrook notched another triple-double with 41 points, 11 rebounds, and 11 assists as they beat up on New Orleans Pelicans. And that's my third winner at the break, the New Orleans Pelicans. I mean, I don't know how it's going to work with Davis and Cousins. I really don't. I don't know how that's going to work. I think they're the same player. I think that Davis needed a wings to complement him, not someone who's about his size and has a similar game. However, you don't pass up on an opportunity to get Cousins. You just simply don't. And if that's the case, if it doesn't work out, you could trade him in the offseason for perhaps a better package. But last night, they put up 69 points between them. That's what it's been in the first two games. These guys putting up over 60 points. And that's what you're going to see. Them and whatever else you can get from someone else. They need to find some wings. Matt Barnes was cut by Sacramento. Maybe they should go and get him. He's a good wing player. I'm surprised no one has picked him up, but seemed like some shaky paths have been troubling with him. Some off the court issues. So you never know. He might be sitting out. He might be sitting out for the remainder of the season. I doubt if someone picks him up, and if so, I hope so because he can help. He really can. He can help. He can help. And so OKC, I thought that they were the second best winners. I thought that New Orleans was a winner because of the fact that you just don't pass on a DeMarcus Cousins. And I thought Lou Williams was a winner. And him going to Houston is like finding a girl that you can propose to. and that's what it was because that D'Antoni system fits his style to a T. Like it's like a glove on a hand. It just fits his style. And in his first game, he put up 27. So I look for him to really soar the rest of the season. And obviously there's some losers, but I'm not going to get into those. I thought Phil Jackson was one of the biggest losers. And by creating this broken team, Going. Good morning to my sister. Hey, Tasi, how you doing? Hope all is well. Hope you're feeling well. Appreciate you tuning in. Love you. Yeah, Phil Jackson created this mess. First of all, he shopped it for the groceries. All right, and unfortunately, he may have bought some groceries that don't actually match for a meal. You know, you can't bring home cereal, a bowl, and milk, and then give somebody a fork to eat it. It doesn't work. It doesn't match. You know, who here can eat cereal with a fork? Well, that's what you've asked us to do with this team right here. That's the kind of team that you have assembled here, and it lies on the shoulders of Jeff Hornacek right now. You know, I was watching the game Saturday night with the Knicks, and although they prevailed with the win, but, I mean, they need to learn how to close. That game should have never came down to what we witnessed, to a last-second shot by Carmelo that was actually a beautiful shot. And since 2003-2004 season, for those who don't know, with 5 seconds or less in the fourth quarter of overtime, he's hit the most shots. Carmelo is clutch, guys. He's clutch. I've seen some shots that he have not hit, and I said, wow. But when you log in 40 minutes a game, sometimes you don't have your legs under you come fourth quarter. So, I think that in his journey with New York Knicks, they have not found a way to give him some quality rest so that he is fresh at the end of the fourth quarter. But good win for them on Saturday, nevertheless, to show the resilience to come back and hit a game-winning shot by Carmelo after being up by 17 or 18 in the third, and then to turn around and be up by 10 at 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes to go. And that Philadelphia 76ers team, doesn't matter who's on the court right now, they got a culture over there that is contagious. It doesn't matter who's on the court. They're going to play ball, and they're going to fight to the very end. And all this talk about Trey and Okafor, I don't know why. The guy is a baller, man. Throughout it all, he comes off the bench and starts, and he's like 20-10. And he nearly won the game as he went up against Kyle O'Quinn in the final seconds with a nice move from the baseline to the paint to throw it up with one hand. Just outstanding. And this is a second-year player, guys. A second-year player. Playing like a veteran. I mean, that was a grown man move right there. But moving along, the Clippers with CP3, he's back. They had a thrilling overtime win against the Charlotte Hornets last night. As he came back, he had a big game. First of all, Blake Griffin, he had 43 points last night. With all this trade talk about him and will he resign, he quietly, he said, listen, let me put this on my back. He had 43 points. DeAndre Jordan, he had 20 and 19. CP3, he had a big game. I think he had something like 22 and 15 assists. So the Clippers, they came out victorious in an overtime win. And I think it's a much-needed win because, you know, people are a little bit down on the Clippers, and so am I. I don't think they have enough to make a run to the finals. I don't think they have enough. I don't think they can come out the West. That's just me. I don't think they can come out the West. I don't think they can go to the conference finals. They might have the toughest matchup in the first round, as they might meet in that 4-5 matchup once again, and they can find themselves playing Utah. Utah is kind of the West Conference team of Boston Celtics. You know, it's kind of ran like a college team. It has a lot of players on that team. It's a deep roster. Only difference is with Utah's team opposed to Boston's team, I think they have more veteran leadership over there with a Joe Johnson and a Boris Diaw and maybe even George Hill. We're really the only veteran on Boston is just Al Horford. But Quinn Snyder is doing a fantastic job over there. I mean, very similar to what Brad Stevens is doing over in Boston. And these guys here, they might get the home court advantage over the Clippers come first round by getting the fourth seed. So look out for that. But good win for the Clippers. I'm on the belief that this team will be broken up at the end of the season. I think that there's a reason why Carmelo is not waving his no-trade clause. because I believe Chris Paul is headed to New York when the season is over. That's just my gut belief. I could be wrong, but I really believe that's what's going to happen. So we have to see that play out. Okay? I got to talk about boxing. Saturday night, Deontay Wilder. I root for Deontay Wilder because he's a local product here in Alabama, here in these states, in Alabama, not too far from us, next state over. And I try to root for him. He gives us hope in the heavyweight division. But I'm going to tell you something. As much as I like this guy and I root for this guy, I'm not really 100% sold on him. I find that he's fighting guys that he should be putting away early and easily. And I know he probably had to shake off some ring rust this past weekend. But when I watch him fight, it looks like he makes the opponent look better than what they really are. I mean, he did dispose this guy early in the 4th or 5th round. Good morning, how are you? He did dispose this guy in the 4th or 5th round and hit him with a good shot. And I thought the referee may have stepped in too soon. Maybe it was the best call. Not that this guy had a chance to come back and do something, but you got to give him a chance to do something. And I thought the ref stepped in a little bit too soon. But nevertheless, Deontay Wilder would probably have won that fight and probably end that round. But prior to that round, the guy was giving him the business. I mean, he was giving him the business. Listen, I'm not sold on Deontay Wilder. He's got to come out and put these guys away. As a heavyweight boxer, all it takes is one punch to change a fight. That's why, and if there's any division in boxing, you need to put somebody away early when you know you can put them away. It is definitely in the heavyweight division. If Wilder's fighting someone like, I want to see him fight my guy, Anthony Joshua. That's the guy I want to see him fight. I don't think he can give Anthony Joshua any hope or light that he can beat him. Because if so, Anthony Joshua's going to take him out. He's going to take him out. That's just my gut feeling. Anthony Joshua is the real deal out of London. And moving along in boxing, for you boxing fans, there's a fight on Saturday night. Don't miss this fight here. And I believe it's on CBS too. Do not miss this fight coming up. You got Danny Garcia going up against Keith Thurman. Listen, guys, I'm going with Keith Thurman on this. I think he hits harder. I think he's the Punisher in this one here. I think that he's the knockout artist so far. But I tell you what, hey, good morning, Kendall. What's happening, man? I see. I think Keith Thurman is the better fighter in this match. But Danny Garcia is no slouch. I think he's the better boxer. I don't know if he's strong enough to contend with Keith Thurman, but it should be a good fight Saturday night. We'll talk more about that before and after the fight, but that's going to be a good fight. These are the type of fights you want to see, where two good fighters, just going up against one another. Because I'm used to the glory days of boxers just fighting each other. I'm not running from one another. And this is a good fight here. So look out for that on Saturday. And I would be remiss, I don't know how to put this in text, but I would be remiss not to mention it. But it was clearly an African American night last night at the Oscars. I got to call it for what it is. There was 4 awards given out, and clearly could have been a 5th one. But what a night it was. I'm having trouble pronouncing his name. Mahershala Ali for Moonlight. I didn't get a chance to see this movie, Moonlight. And I said I was going to watch it once. I saw them win Movie of the Year at the Golden Globe. But he won Best Supporting Actor, Best Actor in a Supporting Role. Shout out to him. He's a newcomer to the scene as far as nominations go or recognition. He's been acting for 10 years, he said, but I recognized him in the Netflix movie or show where you have the superhero, the African American superhero. I think it's Luke. I recognize him in there, but guy won an award for Best Actor in a Supporting Role. Shout outs to him. Great job. Viola Davis, another one. She won a Supporting Actress in a movie for Fences. Clearly, Denzel was nominated and could have easily won that award as well. And then you had Barry Jenkins. He won 2 awards for his movie Moonlight, Movie of the Year, and also Best Director or Screenplay, something of that sort. So great job by him. And how about Warren Beatty pulling a Steve Harvey, announcing the wrong winner? I mean, what? Should we issue glasses when we giving out these awards? I mean, how do you make this mistake? Okay, first of all, how does Steve Harvey makes the mistake? But then, okay, that's over in the past. I would guess any award show going forward would make sure that no one else would duplicate that. How do you make that mistake at the Oscars? And the Oscars have always been prestige. How do you make that mistake? I'm flabbergasted. I'm just, how do you make that mistake? But anyway, it was a great night at the Oscars. I did enjoy it. I watched quite a bit of it. So, great night. I'm going to close with that. And again, as I said, this is Black History Month. Let's pay some homage to some of those that came before us. And you know what? It don't necessarily have to be the ones that just made it in the history books. Maybe there's someone local that you know. For me, when I look at Black History Month, one guy that you probably won't read in the books or the history books and may not have a holiday or anything like that, but for me, that guy was my father. My dad represents Black History Month. My dad was Muhammad Ali. My dad was Martin Luther King. My dad was Malcolm X. My dad was everybody and some. Someone who can make a profound effect on your life could be someone that you can honor. My dad was like a community dad to the neighborhood and to the building that we grew up with. I'm sure there's some friends of mine or friends of my sisters that probably would want to recognize my dad. And some of you others have dads or moms like that, that you would want to recognize, or that some of your friends would want to recognize, as someone that may have helped you in some kind of capacity, whether it was just advice, whether it was just leadership, whether it was just guidance, or maybe just someone that, you could just talk to and know that was going to listen to you, So, listen, let's take the time out and pay homage to some of those who have paved the way for us. Well, that's going to do it for the show this morning. I'll be at you tomorrow. We're going to start talking about some college basketball because conference tournaments are on its way, and we need to start speaking about that. So that's going to do it for today's show. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Once again, peace and blessings. This is Chopping It Up with Ramel. No notes, straight from the throat. I'll see you in 24.